Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, look, so much to talk about, so little time. Let's start here. I want to go back a little bit to the actual child care provisions with respect to Build Back Better. And I know we're talking about an important topic, and the whole focus seems to already be Build Back Better, but it needs to be kind of covered. In the bill, the way I'm reading it, there was a change in policy that basically designates the funds associated with childcare as federal financial assistance and also imposes federal Head Start restrictions. So according to HHS, Head Start provides provides funding to about 1,500 entities. Roughly only 33 or 2% have religious affiliations. There's been an article in the New York Times where that the plan has actually faced strong opposition from religious groups for that same reason. So if you look at the situation where roughly, let's call it half of the child care services in the United States are provided by faith-based centers or institutions. I know that for a fact because 2 of my 3 children went to faith-based or programs that were basically in a church. 2 of my 3 kids went there. If that's going to be the basis, this is going to cause some problems. Let's just call it what it is. Secondarily, and Mrs. Johnson, I want to ask you a question because I was reading in your bio that you actually run a center. So I'll ask you directly. If it is harder for you to actually have childcare providers working in your facility, will that actually make it more expensive to run your facility? Will that increase costs, whether it be the federal government or a parent trying to get childcare for their child?
Well, currently, I don't have a facility.
Oh, my fault. That's
But I have worked with child care licensing in the state of South Carolina as well, so I can answer the questions.
Sure.
Definitely, I feel that the system that we have in place for the daycare centers and the child care centers and so forth, I feel that we should definitely impact with the learning ability first. See if these are standards that these teachers that are teaching, and also the faith-based, if there are, because the faith-based is kind of a sticky situation because just like you say, there are churches, right? For my center, and it's an upcoming center because I'm really housed in a Ultra Culture Center. I'm in an art and culture center for mentoring program. But so I really can't really base the answer to the question basically right now because I don't have a center.
That's fair. I'll open it up. Yeah. If the cost of, it's essentially, if you have a situation where, which we currently have right now, where under the child tax provisions, you have workers who will potentially, because child care workers, they got kids too. That's just the reality of the situation. Well, they will effectively be getting, hundreds of dollars per month per child. Will that actually increase the costs to centers of labor? Will it actually increase the cost for them to get people to come in and work the necessary hours if they're already getting hundreds of dollars from the federal government with respect to child tax extensions?
So I was going to address the arguments that you made about religious providers as someone also who put both of my children through religious preschool.
But hold on, I got to stop you.
Right.
I got 1 minute and 15 seconds.
No, okay.
I wanted to focus on child tax.
The child
let's
tax
go there.
credit?
Yeah, because look, here's the reality. Child tax credit is roughly $275 or $300 per child, depending on your situation, right? If you're getting that money in your pocketbook, what is going to happen is either A, you're just going to go back to work and work your 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, whatever, 35 hours, or B, you're going to choose not to work the additional hours because the federal government is providing a direct benefit with respect to child tax credit. So economically speaking, something's going to give. You're either going to work more hours or you're not going to work more hours. And if you choose to work more hours, the economic argument is that my additional time, which I could not go to work because my budget is now full, you're going to have to pay me an additional dollar or additional X amount of dollars in order for me to decide to go into the workforce. So does that provision actually not only increase the cost of childcare, but increase the cost of virtually everything in the United States when people have now an economic decision to make of whether they're going to go to work or not?
No. It does not. The child tax credit and child care are complementary policies. And in fact, there are reams of research showing not only does it cut child poverty dramatically, which as we've discussed has long-term implications for the workforce, but it actually, the way that parents are spending it in many cases is it helps them go to work.
I have
because
no
they're able
idea
to
where you
purchase
guys
things
did
like
that research
transportation
from.
and
Because if you talk to any business owner in our country, and I've talked to hundreds of them in my districts about this provision specifically, they're all very concerned about what it's going to mean with respect to actually having to pay more in wages to get people to come in, because now small business owners are going to continue to be in direct competition with the federal government when it comes to dollars going into people's pockets. We've already seen it when you have gas stations having to pay people $500 to fill out an application. We've already seen it.
There have been multiple surveys nationally representative of small business owners who overwhelmingly support the child tax credit for many reasons, but one of them is that it increases demand in the economy, which then increases demand for their goods and services and is good for business.
If there's more demand in the economy,
The
but they don't
gentleman's
have the-
time has expired.
Fair enough. Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. So much to talk about, so little time. That's why.